Go ahead.
Okay, welcome to the 2020 Neptune Beach Primary Candidate Forum hosted by Beaches Watch. Thank you for attending tonight's forum, and thank you candidates for participating in this forum. I'm Maria Mark, President of Beaches Watch, and I'll be the forum moderator. So for those of you who don't know Beaches Watch, we are a nonpartisan, nonprofit civic organization that was founded in 2004. Our mission is to educate and involve citizens in the decisions that affect the future of our beaches communities of Atlantic Beach, Jacksonville Beach, and Neptune Beach. Beaches Watch does not endorse candidates, and since 2004, we have been hosting nonpartisan candidate forums so voters can learn more about the candidates and make an informed decision when you vote. As an added service, we have posted candidate information on our website. The information includes the candidates' websites and answers to questions on specific Neptune Beach issues and concerns. We will also be posting the video from tonight's forum on our website. We'll encourage anyone who did not attend tonight's forum to before they vote. Please visit our website to take advantage of these resources we are providing so you can make an informed decision when you vote. So the forum format tonight will last about an hour. All candidates will have 2 minutes for opening statements, 2 minutes to answer each question, and 2 minutes for closing statements. Candidates, when you have about 30 seconds left of your time, you'll hear this. See if you can see the mouse over here. And my video will come back. I'll come back on video when you have about 10 seconds left. There will not be time allocated for rebuttals. However, candidates can use a portion of their question response time to provide rebuttal to a previous question if necessary. If you wish to submit a question to be directed to all candidates, you can enter your question in the Zoom chat. Please understand that due to limited amount of time, we may not be able to ask all the questions submitted. So I'd like to go ahead and introduce the candidates for seat 3. We have Esther Burr, John Cauley, and incumbent Carrie Chen. The order that the candidates will be answering tonight's questions was determined prior to the forum, and the order will be rotated to allow each candidate the opportunity to answer a question. So you might
Did she freeze up on everybody else?
Yes.
Steve, can you go ahead and resume where she left off?
Sure, I can do that. And if she comes back, she can do it. I think we were getting ready to do the first question. Is that correct?
I didn't receive the order.
Okay, well, the order is, as you see it on the screen there, for the first question, it will be Esther, followed by John, followed by Carrie. And then when we get to the second question, John will go first, followed by Carrie, followed by Esther. The third question, Carrie, and we just keep on rotating it that way. So every time a new person will start.
Right. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I got kicked out of Zoom. Some things you just don't have control over. So, okay, so the opening statement will start with Esther Burr, then we'll go to John Cauley, and then Carrie Chen. So, please tell the voters what qualifications in terms of education, experience, and prior community service, particularly here at the beaches, do you bring to your candidacy for public office? And Esther, we'll let you go ahead and start.
Esther, you're muted.
You're muted.
Yeah, were we going to skip the opening? Do we do openings first?
Yes. Did you hear what the opening statement was?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you had just said to go right to the first question.
The first question is, what qualifications in terms of education, experience, and prior community service, particularly here at the beaches, do you bring to your candidacy for public office? And Esther, you can go first.
Right. Okay, but I was going to give an opening first, correct?
That is the opening statement. That's what
Okay.
That's what we want.
For opening statement. Okay. Okay, I just misunderstood that. I apologize. Good evening, everyone. Thank you to Beaches Watch for hosting this forum and for all that you all do for the community. And thank you to everyone who's come to participate. My name is Esther Burr. I am a mother of 2 beautiful children. My son Dominic is 17. Daughter is Lexi is 6. Most of you know my husband. If you've been to my door, you've been barked at by Tucker, our rescue dog. I am a paralegal by trade, and I've been doing that for over 20 years. For the last 11 years, Cord and I have worked together in his small law firm. And that has really given me the flexibility to be kind of working full time and still staying at home with the kids and being available for them. It's worked very well for us. So if I can throw that with, so I bring a unique range of knowledge and experience to City Council. My legal experience has given me a broad base of knowledge and a good spidey sense for things not being quite right, critical thinking, problem solving, and frankly, common sense goes a long way in all levels of government, particularly local government. Being an independent thinker and a consensus builder makes a big difference. And just understanding the role of government and how good policy is made makes a big difference. So I look forward to working with all of the residents in Neptune Beach and serving you on City Council.
Okay, thank you. John?
Hello, my name's John Cauley. I want to thank Beaches Watch for this opportunity to talk to the people, meet other candidates and everything. I've been a resident in Neptune Beach since 1990. I've worked in Neptune Beach since 95. I deal with people every day. I work at Pete's Bar. I've been a bartender on the corner. I hear people, voice throughout the day when I work. I've followed City Hall. Haven't been probably quite as active as everybody else here, but I think I bring a different look, maybe the common people, more people's person, bringing a voice from the streets to the meeting. And that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to, if elected, you have to earn my vote. I don't want to be a rubber stamp. I want to, try to do what's best for Neptune Beach. That's me.
Okay, thank you, John. Gary? You're unmute. There you go.
Am I coming through clear?
Yes.
Great. Well, good evening. First, I really want to thank Beaches Watch for always having these candidate forums every year, and especially during this year, during the COVID-19 emergency. And I also want to thank all the attendees who have been able to tune in tonight, even though there might be a few hiccups, but kudos to you guys. And as you all know, my name is Carrie Chin, and I'm the incumbent candidate for Neptune Beach City Council. And my background is I have a undergraduate degree from Cornell University, and then I got a master's in architecture from Columbia. And I'm currently a software developer for federal contractor, CGI Federal, who handles a lot of defense and homeland security and healthcare projects for the government. I was appointed to fill a vacated council seat just last year, and it's based on my strong history of public service to the Neptune Beach community. And that history includes about 18 years of volunteering for community nonprofits like Beaches Watch, for instance, the Ishbrand Beautification Committee, the Save the Ferry Task Force, Beaches Town Center Agency. I've worked on local programs like Dancing in the Street, Web.com, Tour of Homes, Coastal Carnival, Buy a Brick. And, let me talk about Buy a Brick. I not only sold bricks, but I also had to haul them around and help get a few of them into the ground. So I'm willing to get my hands dirty. I also designed for free, and let me make this clear because it's been questioned. I've designed for free the welcome beach, the welcome to Neptune Beach welcome signs. I designed the arbor and the butterfly garden in Jarble Park, novelty license plates, print flyers, and many other projects over the years I've been volunteering. And I also served 15 years on the planning board and the community development board, and served as chair for several of those years. And while there, I learned the intricacies of our, city code and the delicate balance needed in making the decisions that respect both our residents and our city's unique charm while protecting us from out-of-scale development.
Carrie, this is Steve. I'm sorry. I think Maria's having problems coming in to end your 2-minute section. She can't.
Okay.
So I apologize, but the 2 minutes was up, and I wanted to help Maria out there if I could.
Okay. Great.
I'm sorry, Steve. I didn't hear the bell, but I came back on, and I just wanted to make sure I was at the right timing. So, okay.
I didn't hear the bell, if that helps.
You did?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you, Carrie. The next question, the order will be John, Carrie, and then Esther. Okay. What was your biggest challenge, either in the public or private sector, and what lessons learned from that challenge has prepared you to serve the citizens of Neptune Beach? John?
Well, biggest challenge, I work every day with all sorts of people, and, everybody has to get along. So you have to deal with personalities and different people on a day-to-day basis. And it takes work. You've got to be able to do it and keep going. And in the business I work in, it's something you have to do every day. So that's been my challenge.
Okay. Carrie, you're muted. Just make sure you unmute.
Can you repeat the question?
What was your biggest challenge, either in the public or private sector, and what lessons learned from that challenge has prepared you to serve the citizens of Neptune Beach?
I think the biggest challenge is something that I face all the time and continuously at work, which is always having to learn new things and process lots of information coming from all different places. And being able to process all of that and find your way to a solution, I think, is a really important exercise that I've had to do for every job that I've taken, whether it's private or public sector. And so I feel like, the world is always changing, and there's always, new challenges that you're being faced with. And I feel like it's really important to have this ability to be able to collate all this new stream of information and then learn new skills to try to tackle those new challenges. And I believe I can bring that to the table for Neptune Beach.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. All right, Esther, you're muted also.
All right. So I would say the human element of everything is always a challenging part. From the Marine Corps to being a mother to dealing with clients and law firms, being able to bring people together, especially people who don't agree, is very much a skill. And not everybody has that skill, but it's something I've always excelled at. There's nothing in life that you don't have to deal with people and personalities and people who don't get along and do get along. I've always been very good at and consensus building and being able to step up in a leadership role to bring people together to come to a solution to a problem. And that's something that I think is often missing in government as well as everything else in life, and that's something that I feel that I bring to something like a local government body. And I believe it's very productive.
Okay, thank you. Next question, we will start with Carrie, followed by Esther, and then John. What have you done to earn and maintain your constituents' public trust, either in the public or private sector? Carrie?
What I've done in the public sector to earn my constituents' trust is that I always voted based on what I felt was the best for Neptune Beach and for the community. I've always, looked at all the different sides of an argument. Is my volume okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I've always looked at every side of an argument and saw how it would apply to the code and how the code would apply to that particular situation. And I never voted based on emotion or special interests. It was always based with a laser focus on what the code demanded of us and what was best for the community. And I think that people are able to trust in my decision-making process because they feel like I have their best interests at heart.
Okay. You guys are doing great staying in time. Esther, same question. What have you done to earn and maintain your constituents' public trust, either in the public or private sector?
You're muted.
Sorry, guys, I'm not good at the Zoom thing yet.
Thank you.
So in our community, and actually, Jacksonville wide, probably Northeast Florida wide, I've become kind of the go-to person to figure out how to get things done, whether it's state, local, federal government. When someone has a question, they don't feel comfortable calling their representative at whatever level that is, but they know that I know enough about a lot of things that I know how to get them to the right person. And I've probably helped hundreds or more to resolve issues, not because I have the answer, but because I know how to get them to the right answer. And people really appreciate that. And I'm always responsive. And that's constituent services is the most important thing that you can do as an elected official at any level. To not return a phone call, to not return an email is just never acceptable. And I'm really, really good about always doing that because I understand that an elected official works for their constituent, and for them not to hear from you is just never acceptable.
Okay. The next question, the order will be,
Do you want to hear anything?
sorry?
I have an answer.
I'm sorry, John. I'm still learning the Zoom thing too.
Sorry, mine's real short and sweet. Anybody knows me, I come straight forward. I know it sounds funny, but I'm an honest person. You get what you get. You see me, you hear me. I'm just straightforward. There you go.
All right, short and sweet it was. Thank you. My apologies. Okay, the next question, we'll start with Esther, followed by John, and then Carrie. What are the two most important issues facing Neptune Beach, and how would you propose to address those issues? Please be specific. And Esther, you're muted.
I got it that time. I'm getting this. I would say infrastructure and obviously redevelopment would be the two that I think are the most pressing right now. Infrastructure is something that I don't think people should ever have to come and complain that their sidewalk is busted up and needs to be fixed. Potholes, a constituent should never have to come and tell you that that's an issue, because you should know. I mean, we should maintain our infrastructure as a matter of course, not just when somebody squeaks. And that's something I feel like we've neglected for some time. West of Penman has been badly neglected and really needs to be given some attention. We just really need to do a better job of that, and that's something that I want to make sure gets done. And then obviously redevelopment. I mean, this 500 Atlantic has been such a big issue. We've got to figure out how to, and we're going to, as part of the Dover Coal, process, we're going to figure out how to tighten up our codes and zoning and everything, and figure out how to make sure that some future council, I don't believe anybody here wants anything other than for Neptune Beach to stay the same, but that doesn't mean that a future council won't. And we need to be the ones that button it all up and make sure that we protect Neptune Beach for the future, because it's not the council is not always going to be people who care about it as much as all of the people involved right now do. So those are the two things that I think need the most of our attention right now.
Okay, thank you. John?
I feel that Neptune Beach is going to grow, so we need to guide it along. I do agree that the Kmart area doesn't look real good. It needs to be developed. It's going to be developed. Let's get it developed where people are happy. Let's help the neighborhoods. Let's help the city get some more tax dollars that way. And then the other, I just think our city needs to be a little more transparent. How money's spent, when it's spent, how it's appropriated. There's a few questions. I'd like to see those answered. There you go.
Okay, thank you. Carrie?
I think that we can all be in agreement that, a big issue is development and infrastructure. Both of those things are big issues for Neptune Beach. And, of course, we have the Dover Coal project, which is going on right now, and it enables and empowers our citizens to, put their stamp on a future vision of what the city will become, and, help us guide us to the place that we want to be. And at the same time, I think that it will help us find new dollars and new funding sources to improve our infrastructure. Yes, definitely. There are things that have reached their lifespan, they've reached their age, and we're going to have to start replacing them. We have a lot of old sewer pipes, and we're starting to initiate some stormwater improvement projects. And so those are two of the things that I also agree are very important issues that are facing Neptune Beach.
Okay, thank you. The next question will be, we'll start with John, then Carrie, and then Esther. If the budget shows a shortfall due to COVID-19, would you consider a millage increase so services can continue at the same level pre-COVID-19? Why or why not? John?
It's tough to increase taxes at a time like this. Businesses are hurting, things are going. I'm not sure I could do that. If it's the only way, maybe we could put it to a community vote and decide. But I would kind of be against that.
Okay. Carrie?
Yeah, I also would really caution us against a millage increase, because I think that there will be other avenues of perhaps funding that we could explore before we even think about a tax increase on our residents, especially because of the fact that, every dollar of taxes that we pay into the county, we only get 18 cents back. So I'm not sure mathematically it even works out to something that would help us in the long run. So I'm also in agreement that I would look at other ways to meet our goals before increasing our taxes.
Okay, thank you. Esther?
Can I just go with ditto? I'm just kidding. I definitely concur. Yeah, that's got to be like the absolute last resort. I mean, people are already distrustful of government. I mean, when our family is in a bad spot financially, we don't have somebody else to go to. We tighten our belt, we figure it out, we get through it. We don't go to somebody else for a handout or for more money. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. So, and I think that people expect the government to function the same way, and that's the way it should be. So ditto.
Okay. All right. The next question, we'll start with Carrie, then Esther, and then John. Would you support installing a roundabout at the five-way stop on Penman Road? If you do not, what alternatives would you suggest?
I think that that's still up for discussion because I think we need input from the public safety department. We need input from, the neighbors and the residents in that area. There were two options presented. One was like a single lane roundabout and the other one was the improved signalized intersection. And I think that we could definitely use a lot more input about that. There are safety concerns on both, and it really requires us to get a little bit more information on that just to, be able to evaluate the safety improvement or, lack thereof to it. And ultimately, I think that the decision may come down to what the county decides to do with that Penman Road improvements that are coming down the line. And now the community definitely has input and the council will have input. I doubt that they will go full bore on something that the residents are fully dead set against. But again, we need more information on that before we can move forward.
Okay, thank you. Esther?
Yeah, so along the same lines, I would probably lean toward the improved intersection rather than the roundabout. But I agree with Gary that there's just not enough information yet. I'm hoping that Dover Coal they've been pretty good about real data. So I'm hoping that some safety studies and stuff will be part of the information that's presented on that. And maybe that'll give all of us a little bit more to go on. But obviously, again, listening to the residents and trying to figure out what's the best thing for all of us is what we're going to need to do. And we're just not there to make that decision yet.
Okay, thank you. And John?
Yes. There is a report out there. I pulled it up online, the DOT, and it's tough to get through all that. Jacksonville did a report on that intersection. My concern is probably with the others. It seems like there's a whole lot of traffic through there, and traffic circles don't work real well with a lot of traffic. They can get jammed up. So yeah, we need some more, maybe a different idea, maybe, something else with it. I'm just worried if like the traffic circle might just really jam that section up, because anybody that goes through that during any sort of rush hour or school hour knows it backs up there. And I'm not sure the options we have right now are the right ones. So I think we need to look more into it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next question, we will begin with Esther and then go to John and then Carrie. What is your position regarding home rule?
Ooh, that's always a loaded one. So home rule is a funny thing. The state is maybe people don't know, maybe they don't, but the state is the state is the ultimate authority. The state creates the local governments, and there are a lot of things need to be regulated at the state level. There are also a lot of things that need to be done at the local level, and I would say the tree ordinances are a great example of something that really needs to be done at the local level. There's no way for the state to make an ordinance that works for every city and county in Florida, and so that's a good example of something that should stay in the home rule realm. There's constant tension between the state and local governments over home rule. There's one or the other isn't always right. It's really situational. And what we see a lot, the reason that the state has to get involved at all is in a lot of these situations is because counties, cities, usually in South Florida, do crazy stuff like $50,000 fines for taking out a tree. And, you know, so the good counties and the good cities who do things the right way and aren't trying to, you know, do crazy things, they end up getting caught up in regulation from the state. So it's a weighing and balancing of the powers between the state and the local governments. And it's certainly appropriate. Home rule is certainly a good thing in a lot of ways and a lot of situations, but it's not an absolute.
Okay, thank you. John, what is your position on home rule?
I feel if we're doing it right, we're probably not going to get bothered. A lot of it's not an issue. There are definitely state issues that come through. And, you know, the tree issue, I think Mo might differ on that. She'd love to see a statewide issue on trees. But I think, you know, if we do it right, we're not going to have to worry about the state.
Okay. And Carrie, what's your position on home rule?
Well, I think that home rule is actually very important. It was one of the key issues at the last Florida League of Cities conference last year. And since then, we've had a few home rule challenges that have faced our municipalities. You know, interesting, like my opponent, Esther Burr, has mentioned about the tree ordinance. You know, they took away the ability for local municipalities to regulate, you know, trees being taken down by, you know, homeowners, and, you know, without mitigation or without permits. There's also, I just watched the other day, a cell tower being erected in the front of somebody's house. It's like maybe less than 20 feet. And, you know, the state took away our ability to regulate where those things go. You know, and also they took away the right to regulate Airbnbs. Neptune Beach was very lucky that we were able to get a short-term rental ordinance in our books before they passed the state legislation, so that we are grandfathered in. But without that, we wouldn't be protected from you know, being overrun by Airbnbs. So I believe home rule is very important. And obviously, there are going to be situations where, you know, there's going to be a compelling state's interest, just as, you know, Governor DeSantis said in one instance where he vetoed a state legislation. So when in the instances where there is a compelling state interest, then definitely, you know, that's something that we can talk about. But otherwise, you know, home rule is very important.
Okay, thank you. The next question, we'll start with John, then Carrie, then Esther. What is your position on vacation rentals, and who should have the authority to regulate them?
We already have, you know, regulations on the books. So if you want to change the regulations, you change the regulations. But right now, we already have regulations on the books, so we should follow those. And one thing on the cell phone towers, I'm not sure, but my research says that was from the federal government. Federal government took it away from the states and the local. Now, I have one 6 feet outside my window. I don't know whether that's safe or not, but it's a federal issue in that. So I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Carrie?
I kind of think I may have answered this question on my previous answer. I really think that short-term rentals need to be regulated locally because each municipality is different, and you know, every situation is different. You know, if your city is very urban in nature, then perhaps it's not as invasive. But if it's a, you know, a family-oriented community like we are, then, you know, having short-term rentals mixed in with your neighborhoods becomes really problematic. So definitely, I think this is one of those things that needs to be regulated at the local level.
Okay, thank you. And Esther?
So ultimately, it's best for the short-term rentals to be regulated at the local level. Again, knowing the state things that go around the state. That's really where the complication comes in. I mean, Neptune Beach, Jacksonville Beach, Atlantic Beach, I mean, they are all capable of regulating short-term rentals and doing the right things and making sure that their residents are protected from, you know, having hotels next door to them in a residential neighborhood. That's not a good thing. Short-term rentals can be a really good thing. They can be a really bad thing, just depending on the actors. And like so many other things, we're so often regulating to the bad actors, which is unfortunate and frustrating. But so the state is involved at some level, but ultimately it's best for communities to deal with them themselves if they're able to.
Okay, thank you. The next order we'll start with Carrie, and then Esther, and then John. What do you think should be made to ensure future growth is beneficial to and preserves the residential character of Neptune Beach? Did you hear that question?
Can you repeat that?
Because my internet's saying it's unstable.
Yeah.
Sounds
Carrie,
like
you're mute.
I'll read it for you if it's okay. What specific changes to the comprehensive plan and land use regulations do you think should be made to ensure future growth is beneficial to and preserves the residential character of Neptune Beach? And I believe, Carrie, you're first this time.
Okay. Well, I voted for a moratorium on planned unit developments, and I voted for a moratorium on lot splits, you know, and so those are two of the things that I think that we need to look at in our comp plan and our future land use code, is to decide as a community what we want for Neptune Beach and how we want our community to look like in the future. And personally, I would want to preserve and protect our small town character. And, you know, to do that, I think that we do need to control our density. So we need to improve our density controls in the comp plan so that we don't end up with something like, you know, 300 apartments at 500 Atlantic. And also, I would also want to do things, you know, make some changes to our land use code that will streamline and, you know, get rid of loopholes and inconsistencies so that homeowners have a much easier path to home improvement. You know, your home is your biggest investment in your life, and you want to be able to improve it, and you want to be able to, you know, renovate it to become something that, you know, matches your dream vision. And so I think that part of what we need to do in our land use code is to make it easier for people to understand what they can and can't do. They shouldn't have to, you know, look and decipher in several different sections to figure out what they can do with their house. And so those are the things that I would like to start looking at, you know, fixing.
Okay, thank you. Esther?
So I'm going to kind of sound like a broken record. I'm going to kind of
reread the question.
No, that's okay. Thank you. I'm going to kind of sound like a bit of a broken record here because I've already said this once, but that's okay. I mean, the future is what we need to be worried about, and I agree that we've got to lock down these, you know, all of the things that we can possibly find to ensure that our density stays low, to ensure that we don't end up you know, changing from a residential community. And there are going to be lots of things that Dover Coal is going to give us as part of their, you know, their process. And so I don't know that we know what the specifics are that need to be done yet, but we're going to as part of all of this, and together with all having the same goal, we're going to get to whatever that perfect spot is where we can get everything so that a future council cannot turn our hometown into a vacation destination.
Okay, thank you. John?
I feel we have, pretty well-defined business area already. It's zoned business in the areas that they are. I feel those businesses are going to develop. Let's make them look good. Let's make it, beachy, homey. Let's see what we can do to make it fit the area. My right is, it's your land. You should have a lot of opportunity, whatever you want to do on it, as long as it meets the zone, meets the requirements. I feel it's, that's one of the rights of landowners. So, and make it simpler. I like it. Let's make it simple for people to understand, and let's make it beachy and homey. Let's, keep the character.
Okay. Okay. The next order will be Esther, John, and Carrie. Regarding coastal resiliency, going forward, what actions does Neptune Beach need to take to mitigate flooding vulnerability and sea level rise? Esther?
Okay. So I think Neptune Beach is doing pretty well with this, actually. I mean, we have a resiliency coordinator who is very smart, very talented. We are, as someone else mentioned earlier, we already have the Florida Boulevard project that was being funded by the state. We have culverts that are being replaced. Neptune Beach seems to very much understand what needs to be done and are working toward that diligently. So, obviously getting strategic partnerships with the state, funding from the state and other agencies for continued work in that direction are great. But we just need to always be vigilant and always be mindful. And I believe that we are, and that we're going to get the things done that need to be done to keep us in the right place going into the future.
Okay, thank you. John?
I agree with the infrastructure. You can identify where the flooding is, better storm drains, everything. We're working on that. Protect the dunes, protect the dunes, protect the dunes. And I liked it when you closed off beach access when a hurricane was coming. That definitely helps in the flooding. Again, protect the dunes. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Carrie?
Definitely have to echo what Mr. Cauley said. Our dunes is one of our number one protections against storm surge. And, I can't talk about that without giving a big shout out to Kevin Brown and his marine science team and Beaches Watch for always going out there and adding hundreds of thousands of sea oats to stabilize those dunes. That's definitely a big line of defense. Now, on the other side of the city, we have the marsh front, and I've spoken to people, on Shadow Lane and at the far end of Seagate across Kings Road Bridge, and they're telling me that they're starting to see a lot more tidal infiltration, recently in the past years, more than they've ever seen, and we might have to start looking at building up some of that marsh front just to push back some of the infiltration, from the water, and we'll start having to look at that. We've already started doing some stormwater improvement projects. We're running a lot more laterals, from East of Third, across to West Third. We're tying it into the stormwater system, and hopefully we're going to start seeing less flooding in the future as we get more of these projects online. But definitely, those are the things that we need to start looking at, and we'll probably, with Dover Coal, we'll start looking at some improvements to our, zoning codes that give people the tools and the methods that they need to renovate or redevelop or rebuild their property in a more resilient way. And I think my time's up.
Okay, thank you. So the next question, we'll start with Carrie, and then John, and then Esther. What would you like to accomplish in the next 4 years if elected? In your case, re-elected.
So it may sound not like much or frivolous, but I would love to see a real extension of safe pedestrian and bike access throughout our beaches city. I want people to be able to, jog, walk, run, bike from one end to the other, safely. And because we are an outdoor loving city. The residents here love being outdoors. They love bicycling everywhere. They love walking their dogs. And I think that we owe it to them to give them a safe way to get from anywhere they want to anywhere else they want. Let's say they want to go from, west of Penman to the Beaches Town Center. There's no safe, easy way to get there right now. And I'd love to be able to provide that to them. In the next 4 years, if we can even just get started, get that planned out and get some more safe sidewalks, some safe bike paths, because I see parents walking their kids, their strollers in the middle of the street, and we can't have our residents do that. That's too dangerous. It's just asking for trouble. And we have close to 3 major schools here, and we have school children. If they're fortunate enough to be going back to school, then they'll be on the streets, and we need to give them safe access to that too.
Okay, thank you. John?
Well, I'm going to tackle it head on. I'd like to see the Kmart area developed. I'd like to see it developed where it fits the community. People behind it are happy. It looks bad right now. It's not bringing us in tax dollars. I'd like to see something happen there. Maybe we can get a crosswalk to the town center out of it. Maybe we can get something better, some noise blocking for the neighborhood. But I would like to see that develop. Only if it's nothing else, it reduces an eyesore, gives the city tax dollars. Also, this parking thing, it's not working. We got to figure that out, get it right. Atlantic Beach has one rules, we have different rules. We need to get that together. I'm not sure why we're paying a third party to run the parking. Seems like that could be a city thing. Seems like we're spending a lot of money on something that's not quite working. I'd like to get that solved.
Okay, thank you. And Esther?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. What would you like to accomplish in the next 4 years if elected?
Okay. So I'll give you 3 things. I want to catch up on all the infrastructure maintenance and get the city where it should be. And I agree on making better walkable, bikeable paths throughout the city. Make it easier for people on the west side of the city to ride their bikes to Beaches Town Center, and then to improve the constituent communication. I just think that's a piece that we're missing really badly, and everything will work better if we can improve our communication with residents, between the government and the residents. 2 minutes to show up at a council meeting and express an opinion. I just don't think that's not enough to for residents to be able to communicate more and more effectively with the representatives and the staff. I just think is really important, and that's something that I would really like to see improved.
Okay, thank you. Next question will be, we'll start with John, then go to Esther, and then Carrie. Would you publicly renounce any campaign mailings or other public communications that are false and or disparage your opponents in any manner? If so, how would you accomplish this?
I always have. I've always I'm a registered independent. I don't get into name calling. There's no reason to do that. Doesn't need to happen. That's my take on it.
And to follow up with that, though, what would you do if some mailings came out that would do that? How would you address that?
Well, there's bylaws there that it's illegal to send mailings out like that. So, you have to go by whatever the rule of law is. I just, people need to get along. You need to do it right. There's no reason that people call names. There's no, you don't need to label people.
Okay, thank you. Esther?
Yeah, no, of course. No, I don't play that way either. I agree with John. There's absolutely no reason for it. And I'm 100% committed to that in this race, obviously. I'm not sure what, I mean, if there would be no reason for a PAC or something like that, which is usually how something like that would happen. The negative mail is not usually at the local level, especially not in Neptune Beach. But if it was, I mean, I don't know what else you could do besides come out publicly and say, you know, I don't agree with that, and you didn't do it, don't condone it.
Okay, thank you. And Carrie?
I agree with my opponents. You know, there's no place for ugliness in Neptune Beach, and you know, as you know, like John, you know, as a lifelong NPA, you know, non-party affiliated, I've always
that's true.
Yeah, I've always reached across the aisle. I've worked with Republicans, I've worked with Democrats, I've worked with independents, I've worked with, you know, NPAs. You know, there's no reason to not cooperate with each other and find common ground and reach the mutual goals. I mean, the end goals are usually always the same, you know, and I think that we could all agree on that. And as Esther said, I'm not sure what you would do if, you know, some ugly mailer came out, and it's probably a PAC, but, you know, maybe you address it on social media to just say, hey, this was terrible and shame on you. You know?
All right, thank you. So that wraps up the questions. We will now go to closing statements. We will start with Esther, and then John, and then Carrie will answer last. And the closing statement is, why should the citizens elect you?
Okay. So I believe the citizens should elect me because I bring something to local government that it doesn't usually have, and that's knowledge of government beyond itself. Understanding the way that good policy is made is not something we learn in our private sector jobs. It's not something we learn in school. You know, I guess you could learn it if you were a political science major, maybe, but not really. I mean, it's something that you learn as you know, sit in committee meetings and watch the sausage being made, to use a term that most people don't like, but it's true. You know, it's something that very few local governments have anyone who understands good policy and how to get there. And that's something that I believe that I bring, along with obviously critical thinking, you know, common sense goes so far. And that's something that I don't think Neptune Beach has necessarily had. And I believe that it's a big asset, not only understanding, you know, how the policy is made, but being able to work with state partners and outside of our 2.5 miles, 2 miles, to make Neptune Beach better. And that's something that I have the knowledge and ability to do, and I want to do. It would be such an honor to represent my friends and neighbors here in Neptune Beach, and I hope that I'm given the opportunity to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
Yes, I think I bring a voice to the people. You know, worked here, you know, since '95, lived here since '89. Transparency. I have no state or federal thing to bring to it. Don't think we need state or federal here. I think we need to stay local. Want to have voice of the people. I think I can do that. I think I can be one, meet the people, earn the people. Like I said, you have to earn my vote on the council. It's like, I'm not a rubber stamp. That's me.
Okay, thank you. And Carrie?
Neptune Beach is at a crossroads. You know, we all want to preserve our quality of life and the character of our beach town. But at the same time, you know, we have pressures from inside and outside that could change Neptune Beach before we know it. You know, we have population pressures from the apartment complexes being built, right next door, financial pressures from the end of the Better Jacksonville funding, development pressures on both our commercial and residential properties, and environmental pressures from rising sea levels and increasing storm events. But, I believe that we can meet these challenges, and I believe our community can, is smart enough and strong enough and resilient enough to adapt and overcome. We've been building a great team at City Hall, modernizing technology and processes, and there's more work to be done, and I can't promise you the moon, but I can promise that I will always place the interests of Neptune Beach first. And, because I'm asking for your vote, not for ambition or personal interest, but to work for you, to stand with you together. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I want to thank all of the candidates for participating in tonight's forum. We really appreciate it. I know this is a very strange way to do this, but we do appreciate your candidness and your participation. I also want to thank our Beaches Watch Programs Committee, who organized this candidate forum. It takes a lot of hard work behind the scenes. And to remind you that tonight's forum has been video recorded, and we will be posting a link to the video on our Beaches website. So please be sure to visit our website to check out the candidates' answers to the questions that we provided them on specific Neptune Beach issues and concerns. We also encourage you to please take the short survey to give us your feedback on tonight's forum. And if you would like to receive our emails about beaches issues and our monthly programs, also include your email address when you take the survey. So please visit our website. We have a lot of resources and tools on there and information that will hopefully be informational to you. Reminder that early voting will be held Monday, August 3 through Sunday, August 16 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Beaches Branch Library. The primary election will be held Tuesday, August 18. So please vote early or vote on Tuesday, August 18. Thank you again, candidates, for joining us. Thank you, attendees, for Zooming in, and we look and wish you luck in your campaign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, candidates.